Yo, how's it going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Now, a couple of days ago, I put up a poll for each and every single one of you guys to answer, and these polls were pretty interesting. And we're gonna go ahead and start with reading the first one, which says, should Islam challenge for champ status? 21% of you guys said yes, he absolutely deserves it. He absolutely deserves to challenge Leon Edwards for the title and become champ. And 79% of you guys said no, he needs to beat Arman Tsarukyan first. I mean, there's a couple of ways that we could look at it, right? For those of you guys that are saying yes, he absolutely deserves it, I can see why you guys would think that. He defended his title once against Alexander Volkanovski, which was a very tough, close fight, but he ended up getting the win. He then fights Alexander Volkanovski a second time and knocks him out, right? And then he fights a true lightweight, which is Dustin Poirier, the fight that just happened this past weekend, and he secured the deal, right? He beat Dustin Poirier pretty decisively and was able to finish him in the last round. He was having a lot of good moments. He outstruck Dustin Poirier even. But yeah, I could see why people would think that, yeah, Islam definitely deserves to go and challenge for champ status and challenge Leon Edwards. Also, you know, Islam Makhachev is in his physical prime, so we need to put together some of the best fights while he's able to compete at the freaking highest level. And what other challenge is there besides, you know, Islam challenging, you know, for champ status and going ahead and taking on the champion in the division above him, which is Leon Edwards? I get it. I understand why you guys think that Islam Makhachev absolutely deserves to challenge for champ status, but let's just be honest here for a second, ladies and gentlemen. He hasn't really beat that many true lightweights in his division. I mean, Dustin Poirier was a tough one, I can admit to that, right? Beating Dustin Poirier is in a very important statement for him as a champion, right? But there's other people in his division that I would like to see him challenge first, right? Or be challenged first before he goes and takes on Leon Edwards, right? Because Arman Tsarukyan seems to be a guy that everybody seems to think that has the abilities to beat Islam Makhachev. And I'm not saying that he absolutely rose through him, but I think that it would be a very challenging and interesting fight, to say the least, because, you know, they're both, you know, have similar fighting styles, you know, and the first fight they had was absolutely amazing. For those of you guys that haven't seen Arman Tsarukyan versus Islam Makhachev a couple years ago, definitely go and watch that fight. It was an absolutely grappling and wrestling masterclass from both guys. Both guys had great positions, even though Islam Makhachev, you know, he did his thing and he beat Arman Tsarukyan. It was still a very entertaining fight from both guys. But like I said, he's only beat one true lightweight in his division. I think he needs to secure maybe another win over a really good lightweight, just so it could be a lot more definitive that, you know, he should move up a weight class and challenge for champ status. And the next guy I think he needs to beat before he challenges Leon Edwards is definitely Arman Tsarukyan. But let's just say that Islam Makhachev's next fight is against Leon Edwards, right? Or whoever holds the title at welterweight, right? If he beats the champion, we could see some potentially great matchups. We could see Islam Makhachev take on Jack Della Maddalena, or even Shavkat Rakhmonov, which in my opinion, I think that would be a freaking crazy huge fight. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. I personally think that Islam Makhachev needs to win over one more lightweight guy before he goes ahead and challenge for champ status. But that's just my opinion. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. We then asked you guys, should Dustin Poirier retire after UFC 302? 48% of you guys said yes, and 52% of you guys said no. And I could definitely understand why there's not that many people that want Dustin Poirier to retire, given the fact that he's still able to perform at a really high level, and he's still able to fight against, you know, the up-and-comers, right? Because he did beat Benoit Saint Denis, which was a very dangerous matchup for Dustin Poirier, and he won that fight by knockout, which just goes to show that he's still able to compete with the younger guys trying to make their way up in the division. And it would be a shame for someone like Dustin Poirier to just hang up the gloves, right? Even though we know for a fact that he's still able to compete at a very high level. We had one person say there's nothing for him to win anymore, which is exactly what Dustin Poirier has been saying all week, that the only thing left for him was to win gold and be the undisputed champion. And obviously that didn't happen this weekend. Dustin Poirier made it very clear that if he didn't beat Islam Makhachev, it was probably going to be the last time we ever see him step inside the octagon. We had another guy comment, it's better to go out like this and to end up like Tony Ferguson, which is a freaking crazy statement. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments, but I could definitely understand why he thinks like this, because right now Dustin Poirier seems to be going down a crazy pattern, because he tends to win one, then lose one, then win one, then lose one. So people could see that as a sign of him, you know, declining and losing his form. And yeah, nobody wants to end up like Tony Ferguson, going on like 6+ you know, losses in a row, right? That would absolutely suck for anyone. We had another guy comment, yeah, he's not getting another title shot. It would be pretty tough for him to get another title shot. I do agree with that. And any fights from now on would only hurt his legacy and his physical health. I could agree if he loses, you know, if he keeps on losing fights, but if he keeps on winning fights, I think that they would only boost his legacy even more. Everybody already thinks that Dustin Poirier is a legend, right, for what he's accomplished so far right now. But if he gets more wins and decides to stay in the sport for a little bit longer, I feel like it would do well for his legacy. Personally, I would like to see Dustin Poirier get one more good fight in before he goes ahead and calls it a career. Maybe if Conor McGregor beats Michael Chandler and tries to get a rematch against Dustin Poirier, I think that would be a pretty good matchup for him, and maybe he entertains that fight. But yeah, I would like to see Dustin Poirier stick around just a little bit longer, get one more good fight in before he goes ahead and retires. All right, and the last poll that we put up yesterday was, does Sean Strickland beat Dricus du Plessis in a rematch? We had 77% of you guys freaking vote on this poll and say yes, he will definitely beat Dricus du Plessis in a rematch. And obviously 23% of the people said no, he does not beat Dricus in a rematch. Personally, I do think that Sean Strickland does beat Dricus du Plessis in a rematch. I feel like he's going to make the necessary adjustments and prepare well for a fighter like Dricus du Plessis. I feel like Sean Strickland has a really good, smart coach that already knows a good formula to beat someone like Dricus du Plessis, and I think that they're going to prepare very well. Now, if you ask me, I do feel like Sean Strickland won the first time around, right? But for whatever reason, they gave it to Dricus du Plessis. But right now, Sean Strickland did his thing. He defended his #1 contender spot against a very tough Paulo Costa, and all he has to do right now is just remain patient and see what the UFC does. If we get Dricus versus Israel Adesanya, it does give us some potential great rematch fight for all of us to witness. But yeah, that's pretty much all I want to talk about in this video, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna keep an ear to the streets and keep asking you guys questions. I make these videos for y'all. This is what the community is saying as a whole, or at least that's just how I see it. But make sure you guys subscribe, make sure you guys like this video, keep your notifications on. As always, it's a pleasure. Peace out and have a good one.